Kia ora and welcome to day 12 and 13 of Weaving My Tukutuku panel. As you can see, everything is filled out, the panel is complete. So last Monday and today I took this into the office and my very lovely co-workers helped me complete this. We worked really hard. At one point we had 3 of us working on the panel just to get these single stitches in the corners done. It was a lot more complex than I would like to say, but we got there in the end. And today we had pretty much everyone there for the final stitch being done, which was really nice. Yeah, so I'll get into the videos. There'll be a little explainer at the end of what my pattern means, my thinking behind it. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. That was day 12, on to day 13. Kia ora. Just before we cut to the outro, I thought I would sit here and tell you more about my panel, what it represents, my thinking behind it. So I'll start from the start. I chose the whetū Tupuārangi, who represents food from the sky, so think birds, berries, fruit, that sort of thing. There's no particular reason behind me choosing Tupuārangi other than I was a bit late to the game. I'd been away and other people had chosen their whetū, but I had previously, when we had created Manu Tukutuku chosen Tupuārangi, so I thought it would be nice to choose one of the whetū that represent the whenua. So my thinking was that I wanted to incorporate the trees and the birds, and in my research I came across the mumu pattern, which is what I've used to create the 9 separate sections over my panel. This pattern is common in Wanganui, which is where I whakapapa to, and as part of my journey in reconnecting to that whakapapa connection that my whānau have lost, I chose to use that. It also gave me an opportunity to represent different patterns in a way that separates them but also creates one cohesive panel. And so starting from the bottom middle, I used a double potama pattern to represent quite literally the trunk of a tree, and then single potama on either side and throughout the middle in the greens to represent the canopy of the tree. The pink is to represent berries. So I was inspired by puriri trees, because the other part of Tupuārangi is that around the time of Matariki is when you get kiriru harvesting traditionally, and so I thought, what do kiriru love to eat? Puriri berries, which brings us to the 4 corner sections of my panel. These were heavily inspired by mumu design I found in my research, where the 4 corners represented different kinds of bird footprints. So I was inspired by that. I chose to do on a diagonal similar pattern, so you can see in the top and bottom corners the patterns are sort of reflected in each other. And then finally in the top center, this is it's the most different section because I wanted to incorporate the constellation of Matariki in my panel, and so I chose to represent the whenua in the green and the sky in the dark blue, and then all of the whetū in the constellation of Matariki. You have Matariki in the centre, and then all of the other whetū around her. And I finished off with the very centre of Matariki because I thought that would be a nice way to finish the panel, or finish the weaving of the panel. So yeah, that is the meaning behind my panel. It is a nod to the birds and the trees, the berries that Tupuārangi represents. I hope you've enjoyed coming along this journey with me. It's not quite finished yet. There's going to be some more videos, I think, of me tidying up the panel, trimming the ends, doing the whetū stitch to secure the top and bottom. But for now, the weaving is done. I am so grateful for my colleagues for giving up their time to help me, and for giving me the opportunity to do this in a more traditional way, albeit not with traditional materials or techniques necessarily, but making this a 2 or 3 person type of weaving, which is, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to connect with this bit of Te Ao Māori and my culture through my mahi. It's been such a valuable experience for me, and a big thank you to Bernadette Papa, our kaiako. She's been so helpful, and she even did a little bit of the weaving on this, so I'm very grateful. And I hope you've enjoyed coming on this journey with me and enjoyed watching all these time lapses, and I'll see you in the follow-up, the little end bit of me cleaning it up. So yeah, have a great day.